Project Veritas, we showed you once before this assistant principal in Greenwich, Connecticut, who made sure that conservatives, that people of faith, particularly Catholics, would never be hired. It was sickening. Here we have a charter school in New York City, pretty much the same thing with another assistant principal who won't hire conservatives. It's unbelievable. Go.
Meet Todd Soper, assistant principal of neighborhood charter schools in Harlem. He's in charge of more than 670 students. Like Jeremy Boland, the vice principal in Connecticut, he also refuses to hire conservatives and has a line of questioning to reveal their political views.
What would you do, though, as a principal if you knew there was a conservative applying? Would you hire such a person? Yeah.
We have very specific questions, and like ultimately, like our diversity, equity, and inclusion question, like our DEI question, is like it's very telling if somebody has like done a lot of work within themselves, within the profession.
But even conservative, like even Republican.
And it comes out like if people don't answer that question right, they're just an automatic not.
Like what? Hire. Give me an example of not answering that question. Like one of the more.
Like they say that like diversity is about, if they say something that lends itself to be colorblind, which could happen, like, oh, it's like, you know, like everyone is equal, like those things that are well-intentioned statements, but they're missing the depth of understanding of how like the intersections of our identity live out in the world.
Now, just so you know, all this language, they have been indoctrinated into critical race theory because intersection, it's an idea that was invented in this respect by a law school professor in California. I write about this in American Marxism. So intersection would be if you have so-called two strikes, maybe you're a minority, let's say you're black, and you're gay, those two things intersect, so you have two things going against you, being a victim. So it's not that all people are equal. It's the oppressors are not equal to the oppressed. And that's the way it's developed, oppressor and oppressed. It's Herman Marcuse, and it is, it comes out of this German school ideology, the Frankfurt School. It's been passed along by others, and this is the result. This punk is an assistant principal, grade K through 4, oversees hundreds and hundreds of children at a charter school. People are choosing a charter school in New York City because they don't want their kids to go to public schools, so they think they're improving their situation. And so he says, we're not going to hire conservatives. Now, you need to understand, these people do not believe in the competition of ideas. They do not believe in free speech. They demand conformity. They demand it. And so this is how they weed out people. And this is going on not just in our public schools, that would be horrible anyway, but in our colleges and universities. They talk about academic freedom, and what they mean now is the academic freedom to advance conformity, Marxism in its various American forms. And that's exactly what's going on here. Go.
This begs the question, if Soper won't hire any conservatives, what does he do with teachers who already work for him who might already be conservatives? He was quick to tell our journalist just that.
So there's this one teacher who almost like refused to talk about Juneteenth a few years ago and didn't want to like teach a lesson, like in addition to their neurodiversity and their special needs, like our students' lives matter based on the color of their skin, and how that intertwines into the context of the world. And so if you're not willing to embrace fully that aspect of our students, and that means talking openly about race and talking about injustices in the world, then I don't know if you're going to be able to like fully like fulfill your responsibilities.
What was her reasoning for being resistant?
She didn't want to teach Black Lives Matter. I don't think that she thinks that the race is a big deal. Oh, okay. So she was just kind of like, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I love kids, so it's fine. I was like, well, no, like, you have to love all of it. And so you have to acknowledge that there is the potential for those students to experience discrimination.
Yeah. Was she fired or?
Yeah, she left. She would have probably been fired eventually, just based off of like mindset, but yeah, she left.
It's clearly worrisome that these institutions will be responsible for our children's growth and well-being. Classrooms are not meant to indoctrinate students. Soper tries to push his political agenda onto students as young as 5. Watch how he discusses bringing Pride Day to kindergartners.
We have always, and like will continue to like embrace diversity.
But they don't embrace diversity. They embrace, among other things, perversity. But they insist on imposing their ideology on these children. So now we have these public schools that have turned into indoctrination assembly lines. They don't look at children as individuals with their own experiences. They certainly detest parents because parents just get into the way. And so they're pushing indoctrination. That's exactly what they're doing. And one-way indoctrination. This is pure Marxism. Go.
All levels. So the same way we embrace identities that are based off of ethnicity, skin tone, and gender, like we also embrace orientation. So we make student friendly.
Sure.
Like for kindergarten, for Pride Month, we got in first grade, like every kid had like a mirror, and we talked about like there's like a read aloud about an animal or about a boy that said he wanted to be a mermaid, and it's like a way to start like in the group. Was like you should be whoever you feel like you should be, and that was kind of like the message of the read aloud.
Yeah.
And then
were you able to encourage them that like gender?
Yeah, I think so. Like it's delicate, right? So like in kindergarten and first grade, they're 5 and 6, but I think we start with the umbrella theme of like embrace who you are. You have to love who you are.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
Each part of you is beautiful, whatever you feel. Yeah. As kids get older, and the idea of like gender becomes more salient, which happens more towards like 4th grade. Yeah. It's conversations around like it's just okay. So the conversations deepen as kids get older.
The conversations deepen as the kids get older. These are government-run schools. This is so disgusting to me, what's going on here. So we go from racism to sexualizing. The next be climate change, that is the war on prosperity and economic growth, and private property rights, and it is indoctrinated into education students that go to educational schools to become teachers and so forth. And then it's pushed by their unions, the NEA and the AFT. It's pushed by the administrators who come out of these schools and these unions, and promoted by the media, and they have a home in the Democrat Party. I mean, this is really incredible. And by the way, you parents, you're not to have any rights. The Attorney General of the United States will sic the FBI on you should you go to a school board meeting and loudly protest, or just protest at all. And to make sure of that, more and more of the local teachers union affiliates are monitoring who you are, and they're reporting you by name. This is tyranny.
Want to see more? Sign up for LevinTV.